Assalamu alaikum. Namaste. Hotep. Shalom alaikum. Peace. This is Tracy Lene Muhammad, and I was only going to take a few minutes of your very valuable and precious time right before I teach this 6 a.m. yoga class. It's really nice to be up early, have an opportunity to listen to the sounds of the morning without a lot of interruption from the cars and people. You have an opportunity to kind of take your thoughts and process them. And you can, if you dream, which most of us dream, but sometimes we don't remember. All of us dream, but we don't always remember our dreams. You can look at your dreams and see what they're trying to tell you, because they're always trying to tell us something. We're always being guided. We're always being taken by our shoulders and pointed to the right direction. But we have to decide to take our feet and go in that direction. So we can always turn and go other ways. I was dreaming last night, and part of the dream, it was definitely me, but I was with someone, but it was their representation. And what happens when that's happening, when you have a dream and you know that it's the person, that you know the name, but it's not the face, it's because there's something deeper going on, and you're not seeing that person for who they really are, whether that be their positive attributes or their negative. The dream will tell you which one it is. So if you're having a really happy dream and you're, like, let's say you're at a wedding and you're with your spouse or your significant other, but it's them in theory and word and in name, and you know it's them, but it doesn't look like them, there are some positive aspects about them that you are not seeing. And vice versa, if you're in a dream and the dream is with your someone, whether it be male or female, but like, let's say I had a dream with me and my mom. It was my mom, but it didn't look like my mom. And the dream was going towards something negative. Then the dream was trying to tell you that there's some negative traits either you're focusing on with your parent or person that you shouldn't be. You can tell by the rest of the dream what that part is. But what I'm saying is, in the dream, the person that's there, if it doesn't look like them, it's because you're not seeing something fully. So you can decide to meditate on that, and your soul will tell you exactly what it is you need to know, what it is you need to grow. I believe that most people know that because you dream about death, it doesn't mean that the person is going to die. It means there's some aspect about them that is going to be reborn, or some aspect about all of the dream has to be told for me to be able to tell you exactly what's going on. But for the most part, when you have dreams, they are definitely trying to tell you something, and you should pay attention. Sometimes when we are in challenging relationships, the dreams are trying to give us clues on the path to take to move forward in that challenging relationship. It doesn't have to end in a breakup of the relationship or divorce unless you have decided that who you are is being clearly compromised by this situation. And pay attention to the things that you say and they say when you're arguing, because most times when people are arguing, they are really saying what they really feel about you. And it's just an opportunity while that energy of negativity is swirling high and their ego is just over the top for them to tell you how they really feel about you. And you have to pay attention to that. I didn't notice I say pay attention, not hold on. Pay attention to it and meditate on it and see if this person really just doesn't like you. Because oftentimes we can be in relationships with people who don't like us. And we think, well, they're here, but they clearly show you they don't like you in many ways. And they gaslight you and tell you it's you. Every time you point out something in someone that bothers you, it turns into a huge argument. You're doing one of two things. One, you're presenting it in a way that you are speaking to the beast, the ego in them. Or two, they don't like you. And if you know the difference, if when you bring it to them, you bring it to them in love, and they just blow up, they don't have a great deal of respect for you. And it's up to you to decide how you're going to process that, because everybody processes things differently. But you have to be willing to face reality and then decide how you want to change it. Because sometimes you can decide that this person is so important that you're willing to tweak aspects of yourself that really weren't serving you anyway, especially if they're pointing out something that changing might be a better thing for you to do. Instead of allowing your ego to jump up, just say, you know, I need to process what you're saying because it's hitting me in a way that I'm not sure what this is, so I need to process it. And stop the argument. You don't have to argue. There's really never a reason to argue with anybody, because arguing just shows that two egos are just going to battle. Because you can disagree and respect the person and love the person, but when it becomes a blowout argument, or you are saying mean things or they're saying mean things, the egos have gotten up. Now, if you're arguing or they're arguing and you're still being humble and they're still just lashing out at you, you've got to decide that you deserve better than that. If you're showing up in a way, you truly can say that you're showing up in a way that you're not yelling and screaming back, you're being humble, you're taking deep breaths, you're doing all of that, and they're still yelling and screaming, you've got some decisions to make. Because it might be that that person just doesn't like you. And I know it's weird, but people can be with you, but there'll be something. I used to have a private yoga client, and she told me the reason why she got a divorce. She said, my husband didn't like me. And I said, what? She said, he didn't like me. She said, as I started to look at our marriage, I realized he didn't like me. And she said, and I did. I'm pretty terrific. And this is a true story. So I asked her, well, what made you think he didn't like you? And she said, because every time I did anything, he would tear it down and tear it apart. But then he would want to be sexual. And she said, that didn't turn me on to want to be sexual with somebody that wasn't in my corner. And she mentioned it to him once, and he started telling her all of the things about her that were, in his opinion, not good things. But she recognized that many people, her whole, I call them tribes, thought she was great. So she had to make a decision. But her daughter, they had two daughters. Her youngest daughter was 10 when I was training her, when I was doing her yoga. And she said she was 4. And she said, Daddy doesn't like you. And just kept playing with her toys. But she knew that was, she's a Buddhist. She said she knew that was Buddha telling her that it was time to move on, because he just didn't like her. And so they divorced. And he's remarried, and the woman that he's remarried is so opposite of her, even from height and weight and personality, that she said that was his type all along, and somehow he got entangled with me because the soul wise was without these children. I got to go in and teach this class, but I wanted to tell you that you're special and amazing and spectacular. And if nobody says it to you today, it doesn't mean it's not true. It means you haven't went in that mirror and said it to yourself, because you should never be in a space where you're saying, nobody's telling me how great and special I am, because you should tell yourself that, because the most important person on the planet to you really is you. I love you. Assalamu alaikum, namaste, hotep, shalom alaikum. Peace out to Brooklyn and everywhere else.